Shalom Yasharallah. Before we go into this lesson, we give all honor, all glory, and all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakodash. We give double honor to the apostles and prophets and elders of James Khan, better known as Great Mercy, for the been 100% truth that have been correctly edified under. Shalom to the elect, Tabernacle of David, and I am a brother Zariak, coming to this lesson. Right? Now, the title, the lesson we're dealing with is the difference between Ruddy and Red. And the reason why we are doing this is to get to the next lesson, which we're going to be doing right after, which deals with the so-called white man or the white man language is violence and deceit. So that's the reason why. So let's identify, before we get into the understanding, let's fully identify who is the so-called white man according to the scriptures. All right. And this is the fact, especially according to law and testimony, due to their nature itself. Now, again, let's provide some evidence identifying who the so-called white man is according to the scriptures. Now, as we know, many people reference Esau to the so-called white man. And there's a reason for it, because let's go and get the understanding. Right, it says, and the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. So Esau was the one who came out with a reddish complexion or color. Because when you go into the definition of the word red, it means red or red. It means red, and they give it a whole definition with red, ruddy, of Esau as infant, red, ruddy, right? And we go back into its strong definition. It says Adomi, and it goes into reddish, yeah. Right, so it says ruddy, especially Esau's infant. Then you go into it, goes down, it says Adomi, it says reddish, of hair or complexion. And as you go into the next definition, which is right next to it, makes it even more easier. It says to be red, ruddy, rubbed red. Now here's the point. Going into the strong definition, it says Adam, to show blood in the face. Say it again. To show blood in the face. That's the definition right here. I.e., flush or turn rosy, be dyed, made red, and it goes on in commas, ruddy. But here is the point. To show blood in the face. Now, let me ask you a question, right? Isn't this showing blood in the face? Or this? Or this? Yes, it is. So without further ado, we already identified them. But let's go back, because we want to completely understand the difference between ruddy and red before we get the understanding of the scriptures. So let's go into some information which I provided in this part, where it goes into say ruddy can be considered a reddish brown. Now, and before we continue, there's a chart right here below, which is a color code for ruddy. All this here identifies the color code for ruddy. Going into a little bit more, this could be referred to right here as reddish. The higher up number F2D8C5 and DDCC, those, and even going back to EFCFB8, those could be referred to because it goes more into that color code. But you see any difference? So let's continue and read. Ruddy can be considered a reddish brown. It is more accurately described as a reddish or rosy color with a slight tinge of brown. It's a warm, healthy looking shade often associated with flushed flushed complexion, often associated with flushed complexion. Other shades of brown that have a red or reddish tinge include russet and rosy brown. Not rosy, you know, rosy brown. It's usually associated with what? Flushed, because when they go higher up, let's go it again. Look at the first line. That first line could identify as what? Flushed. Because it looks similar to that of red on the first line. Flushed. But it's not the same. And we could prove it by showing you again. So in other words, ruddy, according to the information here, is a derivative of brown, whereas red is not a derivative of brown, because I literally asked the question and it says no, red is not a derivative of brown. Brown is a color that can be made by mixing various amounts of red, yellow, and blue. So you have to mix it to get that kind of complexion. So with that understanding, it would be impossible to match red and ruddy as the same thing. Let's continue so you see the difference. Now after we outline the difference and we bring it out, now you would understand why Esau was called red and David's lack was called ruddy. It's a total difference. Let's keep reading. Right. It says brown is a color that can be made by mixing. Read that already. It says red is a primary color in the RYB, which is red, yellow, blue color model, and it can be mixed with other colors to create a wide range of shades, but it's not a derivative of brown. I want to get something for you. So going lower down, let's go down. I believe it's this one. Right. So the question was, is red rosy or considered rosy? And it says yes, exactly. Rosy is often considered of a red shade of red, typically a light pinkish red. You can find that, by the way, right in this very article as to where it was considered pinkish into red, which usually looks like the so-called white man today. Let's be real, it's right there in the first chart. Come on, let's not lie today. Going back into the same skin of this guy, look at that. Let's not lie today. Isn't that pink on him? Do we need to bring it? Let me get up. Come on, let me get up. Look at that. Look at his skin. Is it not? Are we going to lie now? Okay now. So going back now into the information, it says, alright, it says especially a reddish pink tone. Especially. No, wrong one. Let's not go back. Going back into this one. Right, rosy. Go back into rosy. So it says. It does not matter. Right. Like the color of a rose petal or a blush. It's a commonly used figuratively to describe something positive or hopeful. Literally, rosy cheeks, slightly red or pinkish cheeks, often from warmth or health. Now let me ask you a question. Which person can show blood near or on the skin with a simple reaction or emotion? Could it be the so-called white man, or could it be the so-called Negroes? That alone proves my point. The point is, every time a so-called white man emotions show, and he smiles or he blushes or he cries, look at his face. It becomes red. That's the point. It becomes what? Red. You can see the blood in their face. Can you see the blood in my face if I smile or if I'm in an emotional something or surprise or whatever the case is? No. This shouldn't even be considered. But we have Edomite pastors trying to link red to our people to make us look like we are the Edomites, while they are in their wicked estate doing wickedly on these nations. Imagine that. The audacity. This is why this has to be addressed, because literally slightly red or pinkish cheeks, often from warmth or health. So if red is rosy and rosy is considered red, you are playing with a kind of circular. It says definition, almost poetic. Are you building toward a larger thought or theme? Okay, that is our extra part. Let's go down into where it says flush, right? Because we see that in definition. The question was asked. It says, yes, flush is generally considered a shade of red. Generally, a shade of red, especially a reddish pink tone. Again, now we identify, even though ruddy is sometimes associated with it, red, flush is generally, on a daily basis, considered as red. You cannot make this up. I'm telling you. You cannot make this information up. Stop trying to paint your foolishness on our people. This is why this had to be addressed. Now you look like a fool. Let's keep reading. Yeah, it says a reddish pink tone that resembles the natural color of the face when someone is blushing, embarrassed, or overheated. My point clear exactly. In context, her cheeks were flushed implies a warm red tint. So like a flush of anger or flush of excitement refers to that sudden rush of color and emotion. Do you see color in our emotions? No. You only see it in one people. Come on. There's a major separation in the color codes of red and ruddy, which we read and we identified right up here. It's red, right? We read it and we identify ruddy. This is the color code of ruddy. It's a derivative of brown. This is the color code of red. It's not a derivative of brown. There is your separation. So clearly, this person cannot be this person here, and who's talking to the Negro, cannot be of ruddy. He would be of red. Whereas the person who is talking to would be of ruddy. Very clear. Literally, you can't make that up. This is undeniable fact. Now let's get another example of ruddy according to the scriptures as well. Let's go into it. Let's go into 1 Samuel chapter 17 and verse 42. And it says, and when the Philistines looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth and ruddy and of a fair countenance. In other words, sneering in contempt at this ruddy-faced boy. So let's go into that word ruddy after bringing all this information now, right? So we go back into the word ruddy, and it goes back into Adomi, ruddy, which is what? Reddish, of hair and complexion. But we already identified ruddy and red. And seeing that, again, red is going back to the Edomites, because the Bible says he came out red all over like a hairy garment, and his name was called Esau. That's their base in color. And that would mean that the Israelites would be of a ruddy color. Ruddy is a derivative of brown, so it goes back to dark brown, to lighter brown, to a shade almost close to that of the reddish or pinkish, almost close. This is not hard. There's an Edomite pastor, and the reason why I had to bring this is because there's an Edomite pastor that was using the red heifer and butchering the scriptures, trying to make it he's using a brown image of a brown cow and trying to make it look as though it's referring to red heifer to show that the Edomites were of a Negro complexion. Now you have it off, because even when you go into the red heifer, which I have the information I made sure red heifer, there's an information above, there's a picture, this picture has a link, and this is the information here. As it says, so you see in the red heifer thus far, look at the information. The Bible story of the red heifer is found in the Old Testament in Numbers chapter 19. The red heifer is a ritual element in the Jewish tradition, which deals with the Israelites, not actual Jewish, but our tradition. Purification process. It says power instructed Moses and Aaron involving a red heifer, unique in that it was required to be completely red. Are you not seeing being completely red? And without blemish. No blemish. This is the difference between a red cow and a brown cow, because we have them in Trinidad. We have brown cows. We have red cows. This is what you call a red heifer.
Alright, you take care, right? But call Crystal. Right?
Simple is, I mean, come on. Why are you trying to lie to paint that onto us? Because again, let's go back into the color code for a minute. Which one would this be going into? Make it make sense. It would not be going into ruddy, because there's nothing ruddy about the red heifers. The red heifers are more going into what? Those here. I need to pause because I know. Right, that's one of the workers here. So, right, so you see the difference between the red heifer, which goes more into red than ruddy. So, trying to make a comparison between red heifer and our people makes no sense. Stop trying. Because the only people that can get that red under the sun is the so-called Edomite, the so-called white man today. Which we are showing a proper picture right here. Doesn't it look similar to the red heifer in color? Make it make sense. So now that we are over with that, this is why we apply what Isaiah 8 and 20 to the law and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this, that's because there's no light in them. Because these so-called Edomites will do everything in their power to try to look like that wants to be saved. Because they know the end of the story is their end itself. This is why they will do their best to do what? Deceive. Let's get a precept. Psalm chapter 10 and verses 4. Let's go to verses 4. It says what? Please load. I don't know why this is happening. 10 and verses 4. Could you load? Okay, I'll get in the blue letter. Psalms 10 and verses 4, and it says, the wicked through the pride of their countenance will not seek after power. Power is not all in their thoughts. Because according to Isaiah 26 and verses 20, verse 10, it says, let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. Now the question may ask, who is the wicked according to the scriptures? Let's go Malachi chapter 1 and verses 4. It says what? Whereas Edom says, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh had indignation forever. These are the people who is going to be destroyed, the so-called Edomites. And who do these so-called Edomites go back to? Very simple. Genesis chapter 36 and verses 8, straight to the point. Thus dwell Esau in Edom, Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. Case dismissed. Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir. You can't get around it. So seeing that the Edomites, which all this refers to the descendants of Esau, are the wicked, which are the so-called white man, which is proven, now we could pull out what their strategy and what their nature is according to the scriptures, which is what? Let's read it again. Because again, they can't learn righteousness according to the scriptures. Let's read. The wicked through their pride, the pride of their countenance, will not seek after power. Power is not all in their thoughts, in his thoughts. His ways are always grievous, and the judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffed at them. He had said in his heart, I shall never be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud, and under his tongue is mischief and vanity. This is the nature of the so-called white man, which is known to be directly the Edomites. And this is something now that you cannot get around. It doesn't take a whole 2 hours to explain this. This is common sense. The so-called white man isn't actually white. He isn't actually white. According to the information given, he is red all over, which goes back into Genesis chapter 25 and 25. Let's read again, just for clarification purposes. It says, and the first came out red, all over like an hairy garment, and they call his name Esau. So clearly, for those who are trying to depict us as Esau, you error not knowing the scriptures. You error not studying. You error not going to understand the truth. Which means the light is not in you. Because if the light is in you, you would not be doing that, and you would be following after Isaiah 8 and 20, to the law and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. So I hope this lesson was indeed edifying. I will say Shalom Yasharala, Kal Halalia Yahawa, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Kakodash. We double honor to the apostles and prophets and elders of Jealous Camp, but as great minister for the before the hundreds and truth that have been greatly edified under. Shalom to the elect, the tabernacle of David, and I am Brother Zariak saying to you, Shalom.